Hi, I'm Damien. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me again. This is the big one. In this video, we are going to look at getting this car moving a few meters down this road, and we're going to stop under full control. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let's have a look at getting this car moving just a short distance down this road, and then we're going to stop all under full control. So what we've been looking at in this series is just the very basics, the very first few steps of getting the car moving. So we looked at the key controls in the first video, and in the second video we looked at the clutch and the biting point. So what we're going to do now is take it a step further and get this car moving. Now, what I will say at this point is normally to get the car moving and driving ahead, you will be using some gas pedal. But just for the purposes of this video, I'm only going to use the clutch just to show you how slow the car moves and really to try to make you understand the importance of what the clutch does. It's the foundation really of driving. If you can understand how the clutch operates, if you can really get that control sorted, it will really help you throughout your lessons. And certainly when it comes to looking at your manoeuvres, the way that I teach manoeuvres is that I only use the clutch pedal to get the car moving very slowly. Whether you are looking to reverse into a bay or you are driving into a bay, it's only ever the clutch. Now, first things first, feet and, well, shoes really. Feet are important obviously, but shoes are really important. I'm wearing, as you can see, just a pair of Converse with a very narrow sole. So it's about, it allows me to feel the pedal. So the choice of shoes are really important. You don't want to wear thick kind of Nike Air type shoes. Converse or really thin trainers are perfect for the job. The seat is also important. Like I mentioned in the first couple of videos, it's important that you're able to press the clutch pedal all the way down to the floor so that you've got more control when you need to bring it back up again. Bit of a tip for you, in terms of your seating position, when the clutch pedal goes down to the floor, there should only be a slight bend in your knee. Again, if you're finding that your leg is fully stretched, you're not going to be able to pivot your foot backwards and have control of the pedal and therefore the car. So it's really important that you're able to plant your foot on the floor and then pivot the clutch backwards, and therefore you've got more control. Okay. Also the part of the foot that I'm using, as you can see on the video here, just while I'm putting the clutch down, is the ball of my foot. I'm not using the toes, nor am I using the base of my foot. It's that middle part, that ball, to allow the foot to pivot backwards. Okay, just before we look at getting this car moving, there's one thing I just want to really quickly touch upon that we've not mentioned at all yet, and that are observations. Now, it's fairly obvious. I can't just move this car forward without knowing what's around me. Now, on the street at the moment where I'm doing the video, there's a lot of kids on bikes. It's that time of day. It's quite nice out, so you get a lot of activity with kids on bikes, people are walking, and obviously the occasional car as well. So I've got to make sure I'm doing a good amount of observations. Now, all I'm going to say to you is it's one thing you'll cover on your lessons, and it's one thing that it's really important to understand. However, all I'm going to talk about is just doing a really quick sweep around the vehicle, checking your left blind spot, which is the back window area, and then just working around really quickly, and then finishing with the most important area, which is your right blind spot. Again, something that we'll talk about later on. So all I'm going to do is, before I do the observations, the order in which we do it is get the car prepared to move off first of all. So all I'm going to do is go to first gear, and that means clutch down first, across and up into first gear, and then I'm going to find that biting point. So again, I'm raising that clutch up very slowly. I'm not bringing it all the way to the top, I'm just doing it really gently. and there's my biting point. I've just heard that slight difference in the engine tone. My seat's slightly vibrating, so I know I've got the biting point. Also, the back of the car has now just dipped down a little bit and the front's gone up a little bit. Now this is the point where I'm going to do my observations. So I'm going to lock my footwear, it is. I'm going to cover my brakes. I'm not going to put any gas for this bit. So all I'm going to do is check over my left shoulder first. That looks clear. My left mirror, behind me in my centre mirror, again I can't see anything, in my right mirror, and then lastly over my right shoulder, and that's the blind spot, the most important area when moving off to the right. So again, nothing's there. So all I'm going to do now is lock that clutch in place, have one final check again, nothing's around. I'm going to release the handbrake. The key thing is now not to move the clutch. Lock it in place and don't move it at all. So my handbrake's going down, a quick check again, handbrake's going down, the car's now moving, I'm not moving my foot at all. Now, all I'm going to do first of all to stop is press the clutch right down to the floor and then just really slowly and gently brake. And that's it. First thing I'm going to do is to put the gear back into neutral, put my handbrake back on again, and now I can release both feet and I've moved the car. It's as simple as that. We've looked at the type of things that you would cover on your first lesson as an absolute beginner. There are some areas that we've looked at that you might go into a little bit more depth on, things like observations, for example, and things like when you're moving off, you would involve a little bit more of the gas pedal. But other than that, it's been pretty much reflective of what your first lesson might look like. So I hope that was of some benefit. As always, any questions, please feel free to comment below. But for the time being, thanks very much for watching and tuning in. What would be great is if you could subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon for further video notifications. Thanks again, take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.